हरि ओम। ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री हिरण्यगर्भाय नमः। ओम श्री महाविष्णवे नमः। ओम श्री महादेवाय नमः। ओम श्री महादुर्गायै नमः। ओम श्री राम रामाय नमः। ओम श्री सद्गुरवे नमः। ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांतिः। ओम गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। भवानी शङ्करौ वन्दे श्रद्धाविश्वासरूपिणौ याभ्यां विना न पश्यन्ति सिद्धाः स्वान्तस्तमीश्वरम्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। रामाय रामभद्राय रामचन्द्राय वेदसे रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीतायाः पतये नमः। बुद्धिर्बलं यशोधैर्यं निर्भयत्वमरोगताम् अजाड्यं वाक्पटुत्वं च हनुमत्स्मरणात् भवेत्। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ नमः शिवाय 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 ॐ नमः शिवाय। नमः पार्वतीपतये। हर हर महादेव। हरि ओम हरि ओम। We are seeing this 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. In this chapter, Bhagavan summarizes the entire teaching of Bhagavad Gita. Also, it is the summary of the entire teachings of the Vedas. So the Vedas and Bhagavad Gita talk about the twofold path to attain our supreme goal of self-realization, of moksha. First is the path of karma, and thereafter the path of jnana, which is actually jnana nishtha. The karma path culminates in jnanam, self-knowledge, and thereafter one should pursue the path of jnana nishtha, gaining abidance in that self. So when all this advice is given to human beings, the advice of karma, and thereafter to gain that knowledge. See, when it comes to karma, actions, we have choice. We can choose. As a human being, we have this freedom to choose our actions. A desire comes in our mind, and based on that desire, we choose what actions we have to perform. For example, a desire arises in my mind. Let us say I want a hot cup of coffee. So when that desire comes, it comes due to my samskar, due to my vasanas. So it just comes in my mind. So when that desire comes, I have choice. What choice do I have? To put forth effort to acquire that coffee. That is one thing. Or I have choice to modify that desire also. I might say, no, today I will drink tea instead of coffee. Or I have choice to disregard that desire. I want to drink coffee, but I just disregard it. I say, no, nothing doing. Just sit quietly. So this choice is there in every action. Kartum shakyah, akartum shakyah, anyatha akartum shakyah. It is said in Sanskrit in this way. So since we have choice in actions, we have to choose. And in order to choose, we have to think. We have to contemplate. And in order to contemplate, to choose, we should have that proper understanding, proper knowledge. So for example, you go to the market, you want to buy, let us say, a toothpaste. There are so many choices are there. So you use your own intelligence, your own samskar, you go through all those options and finally choose one. So that ability we have. So if we want to choose an action, by ourselves when we try to choose, we might go wrong. What type of action we should perform? What is the right way to work? What will benefit me? What will lead me towards supreme joy? All these factors I consider in order to choose the actions, but by myself, with all my knowledge, I will not be able to make the right choice. Because however intelligent I might be, I do not know everything. I do not know my past. I do not know my future. I do not know the working of the mind, the intellect, the senses. I do not know the working of this world. I do not know the effect of other beings on me. I do not know the effect of the Devatas on me. So many unknown factors are there. So it will be very difficult for me to make a right choice. So in order to help me in this decision, the Shastras, they help me. The Shastras say you decide on the basis of dharma. You choose dharma. Don't choose what you like. Don't choose what you think is good. Don't choose depending on what is popular in the world. Don't choose as per the what you call insistence or advertisement in the world, but choose according to dharma, because that alone will take you to your ultimate goal. That choice is there with you. So you can choose dharma, or you can choose paradharma, or you can choose adharma, or you can choose to be lazy. Scripture says you choose dharma. Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phala hetur bhuhu ma te sangostva karmani. So keeping this in mind, the scriptures guide us on the path of dharma and thereafter guides us on the path of karma yoga. And as we proceed on this karma yoga, our antakarana start becoming more and more pure. That itself is the sign that we are moving towards our supreme goal of moksha, of self-realization, of becoming free of this samsara. Scripture guides me in upasana also, because in upasana also there are choice. You can worship in this way, you can worship in that way, you can worship this devta, you can worship the other devta, you can worship at this time, you can worship with this mantra. So there are billions of choices are there. So in upasana also, the scripture guides us that you do the upasana in this way. Do your yajna, dana, tapak, karma, do your puja, etc. And when it comes to even trying to understand the self, the scriptures then slowly guide us towards the right praman. The scripture says you study the Vedas, study the Upanishads, study the Bhagavad Gita, study all this Brahma Sutra, study the Puranas with the proper guidance of the teacher and gain that self-knowledge. So it's the most amazing thing. And one has to have that faith. So when we have faith in our Shastras, they will guide us towards our goal. So in karma, there is choice. But when it comes to jnanam, there is no choice. when it comes to knowledge, there is no choice. What does it mean? When we use a particular praman, to gain knowledge we have to use praman. So in order to gain the knowledge of the world, we use the praman of pratyaksha, anuman, upaman and arthapatti. These four pramanas are there with which we can know the world. Even the scientists, they use these four pramanas. They might not name them as such, but these four pramanas are used. So pratyaksha means through our senses we come to know the world. And that which we can't see directly through our senses, we can infer. So through inference also we know. And that again which we can't see or we don't understand, we can also understand through comparison. And we can also understand things by first assuming and then working towards our assumption and arriving at that understanding. In science they have what they call hypothesis. So they come up with various hypotheses, then they do experiments according to that. And if the experiments proves to be correct, means their hypothesis proves to be correct, then they call it a theory. And when they again do lot of experiment and they are convinced that this theory is foolproof, then that becomes a law. So gravitational law, they say. But certain things are just hypothesis. Just theories are there. There is no what you call complete full proof. So relativity theory and so many theories are there. And there are certain hypotheses are there. So that is the way of that knowledge, that if we want to gain something, means we want to know something, we just use the right praman and we know. So in knowing there is no choice. For example, this object, this cloth is there in my hand. What is the color of this cloth? Blue? No, this is orange. So when you use your eyes to know the color and form of an object in this world, the praman is our eyes. So when you use our eyes, when all the conditions to use these eyes are fulfilled, means proper light is there, mind is there backing the eyes, all the conditions are proper. And when this object is in front of me, I will gain that vritti in my antakarana of a orange cloth. There is no choice. If the cloth is orange, I will get a orange cloth vritti. Therefore it is called the pramana vritti, a right knowledge. There is no choice. You can't say, no, I will consider it as blue. So if you say it is blue, it is wrong knowledge. If you say it is green, it is wrong knowledge. And it is orange for all. Those who have this eyes as praman and the same conditions, they will experience this as orange only. There is no choice. So in knowledge, no choice is there. As the praman, as the object, so the knowledge. Therefore, it is called what you call objective. In Sanskrit, it is called Vastu Pradhan, Vastu Tantra. Karma is called Purusha Tantra. Karma is subjective. In karma, there are choice. So when we say karma, it is not only what we do with our body, but also what we do with our mind, the upasanas, even dhyana, as guided by the Shastras, or some people have their own way of doing dhyana. Some meditate on this, some meditate on that, some meditate on their breathing, some meditate on certain image. So there is choice. Wherever there is choice, then it is karma, it is not knowledge. And the result of karma is limited. When that karma is dedicated to Ishvara, then karma purifies our antakarana. But when it is not dedicated to Ishvara, then karma gives whatever temporary results in this world. So the path of karma, when we use it dedicating to Ishvara, it will purify our antakarana. And thereafter, with the guidance of the Shastra and guidance of our teacher, when we use the Shastra Praman, Upanishad, when we use the Upanishad Praman, then the Upanishad reveals that Tattva, that supreme reality, what we call Brahma, as it is. There is no choice. Even the Shastras don't have choice. They can't say Brahma, you can take it like that or take it like this. No. One has to know Brahma as Brahma is. There is no choice. So the Shastras don't define Brahma. The Shastras don't create theories of Brahma. The Shastras don't give choice about it. The Shastras reveal the Brahma as it is, just like our eyes. Whatever is in front, as it is, we see. Similarly, through this Praman of Upanishad, Brahma as it is realized. This is a very important point. Therefore, we can't say that, oh, it is a personal matter. God is not a personal matter. The Supreme Reality is not a personal matter. It is a fact. You can't say, no, I will consider it like this. I consider it like that. For me, God is like this. For him, God is like that. Then that is God created by you. Then God created by your choice. Then that is a false God. God, Bhagwan, is a fact. Brahma is a fact. Ishvara is a fact. So one has to recognize Ishvara as he is. Not as we imagine, not as we think, not as is popular, not as we like, but as he is. That is the Jnanam. So when we have purified our mind and have approached the teacher, right teacher, who teaches the Upanishads according to the Parampara, according to the Sampradaya, and when we gain that knowledge of our own self, we gain that knowledge of that Brahma as our own self, as it is, choicelessly. So all those who know that Brahma through these Upanishads know the same Brahma. all those in the past who have known and all those who will know in future will know the same Brahma in the same way, because it is one. But the praman should be proper. If there is some defect in my eye, then what I see will not be, what I understand, what I see will not be proper. If there is some defect in the eye, I look at the moon, I see two moons. So really there are no two moons. There is only one moon. So why do I see two moons? Because there is defect in the eye. Not because there is defect in the moon. Because there is defect in the eye. So when that defect is corrected, I see only one moon. Similarly, when my antakarana becomes shuddha, and when I use the Shastra Praman properly, I come to realize Brahma as Brahma is. And once I gain that knowledge of that Brahma, I have to gain abidance in that Brahma. So first I gain knowledge with the help of my Shuddha Buddhi. Therefore the Buddhi should be extremely Shuddha. It is, the Buddhi acts like a mirror. So if the mirror is absolutely pure, then whatever is held in front of the mirror is seen as it is. So when I stand in front of the mirror, it will show me my face as it is. If some object is kept in front of the mirror, it will be seen as it is. But if there is some defect in the mirror, then we see it a defective thing. So we need not correct that object, we should correct the mirror. Similarly, the Shastras say there is ekameva advitiyam Brahma, satyam jnanam anantam Brahma. So when I make my mind antakarana absolutely pure, I come to know that ekameva advitiyam Brahma. If I see Dvaita, there is defect in my antakarana. If I see Vikar, there is defect in my antakarana. Not defect in Brahma, not problem with Brahma, but problem with my antakarana. So when the antakarana becomes Shuddha, and I use the pramana properly, I gain proper knowledge. Therefore, knowledge, not only knowledge of Brahma, but even knowledge of the world is objective. It is Vastu Tantra. It is gained as the object is. In karma there is choice, but in jnanam there is no choice. That is the beauty of this knowledge. Okay? So that is what here Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji in his commentary he says, ki you are talking about jnana nishtha. We are studying this verse number 50. Siddhim prapto yatha brahma tathapnoti nibodhame samase naiva kaunteya nishthat jnanasya ya para. Bhagwan says कि having attained that siddhi, having attained that self-knowledge by pursuing the path of karma yoga, thereafter you should gain direct realization of that self. You should gain realization of that Brahma, Paroksha Anubhuti of that Brahma should happen. So, how can that aparoksha anubhuti happen? One gains that knowledge of that Brahma with the buddhi. So one should gain abidance in that Brahma, which we have understood. So what type of this knowledge is this? Kidrishi sa yadrusham atmadjnanam. How is this nishtha? As the atmadjnana. Atma, Shuddha Atma itself is Brahma. So Brahmadjnanam, as Brahmadjnanam, so should be the nishtha, that abidance. But question is, Kidruk tat? How is that Brahmadjnanam? He says, Yadrush Atma. How is that Atma Jnana? As the Atma is. It cannot be described, but as the Atma is, so the knowledge happens in the Buddhi. See, again, to give example of the worldly knowledge. So when I see this object, this orange cloth, when I see with my eyes, what happens? An image of this orange cloth happens in my buddhi. The eyes are connected to the mind. The mind is connected to the buddhi. The buddhi is connected to the ahankar. So when the image happens in our buddhi, I gain that knowledge of this cloth. I say, this is an orange cloth. I know this is an orange cloth. Now very interesting. The orange cloth is in front of me. The image happens in my antakkarana, which is experienced by me subjectively. Nobody else can see that image, only I can see. So I see that image in my antakkarana. I recognize it as that orange cloth, but that orange cloth is in front of me. So I point to that orange cloth and say that this is orange cloth. I don't point to that vritti, I point to that object and I say this is an orange cloth. If this is understood, in our buddhi, a vritti, what you call, when the buddhi is shuddha, in the shuddha buddhi, with the help of the praman of the Upanishads and guidance of the teacher, the Atma vritti or Brahma vritti happens. What it is, we will see later. But image of that Brahma means understanding of that Brahma happens. Understanding of that Brahma happens. And that one has to, though it is happening in the buddhi should then understand that which is revealed by this Upanishad and that image which is happening in my antakkarana is this Brahma, which is expressing in front of me as this world and which is expressing within as I is that Brahma. So the Atma-jnana is according to that Atma. Kidrisha asau. And how is that Atma? Shankaracharya writes, Ki yadrisho bhagavata uktaha Upanishad vakyaihi cha nyayataha cha. Ki how is that Atma? That Shuddha Atma, which is also indicated as that Brahma. How is that Brahma? Brahma is as it is revealed by Bhagwan, as it is revealed by the Upanishads and as comprehended using our rational thinking. See, in order to know that Brahma, the first step is to hear about it. And that's called Shravan. So we hear about this Brahma from the teacher who guides us based on the teachings of the Upanishads. So first we hear about that Brahma. Thereafter we have to contemplate and understand this Brahma using our logic, our rational thinking, our experiences. All this we can use to understand that Brahma. Okay. So, therefore here it is called ki yadrusho bhagavata uktaha, as it is revealed by Bhagavan and as it is revealed in the Upanishads. See, the Upanishads alone reveal that Brahma. Therefore they are the supreme Pramana. Upanishads are the ultimate Pramana. The Bhagavad Gita is also based on the Upanishads. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita is also indirect Praman. But the main Praman is the Upanishads. So if any other scriptures which talk about that Brahma should be in tune with the Upanishads. If they are not in tune with the Upanishad, then they are not Praman. They can be totally disregarded. See, there are many texts and many scriptures who sometimes quote this Upanishad without acknowledging. Sometimes we quote as though it is my own knowledge. So sometimes some scriptures, they quote some statements of the Upanishads. So if it is in tune with the Upanishad, then that is Praman only. Like Tulsidas ji has written Ramayana, Tulsi Ramayana. And in the beginning itself he said that what I am saying in my Ramayana is what is I have learned from the Shastras. They are not my cooked up theories. So he acknowledges the Shastras right in the beginning. Ki nana purana nigamagama sammatam yata ramayane nigaditam kvachidanyatopi swantas sukhaya tulsi raghunatha gatha bhasha nibandha mati manjula matanoti. Tulsidas ji says that I have just put it in a new language. The knowledge doesn't belong to me. But I have used this Avadhi Bhasha to convey what the Shastras are telling. What is being told is what the scriptures are saying. But I am using that Avadhi Bhasha. So the Upanishads are the Praman. Upanishad not only reveal that Brahma, but also reveal the way of understanding that Brahma. Therefore, even if somebody quotes that Upanishad here and there, it will be incomplete knowledge. That alone will not help to recognize that Brahma. Suppose you want to, let us say, built up a computer, or nowadays some countries and all, they have some weapons, some arms they manufacture. Like there are countries who have nuclear weapons. There are many countries, but all countries don't have nuclear weapons. Only few countries have. and they guard the knowledge of how to make those weapons very closely. They don't share it with others. We can't go on the internet and download how to make your own nuclear bomb in your kitchen. There will not be any such recipes. It is secret. But even though it is secret, a little traces of here and there everyone might know. Everyone knows that it is made from some atoms, some uranium, plutonium. Everyone knows that the theory behind certain aspect of it, that the stored energy which is there in those atoms are removed, are what you call harnessed to create that bomb. So if I pick up information here and there with all those assorted information, I will not be able to make a nuclear bomb by myself, because that complete knowledge will not be there. Similarly, if one picks up some statements of the Upanishads, some statement from the Puranas, some statement from Bhagavad Gita, some from here, some from there, and make their own scripture and say that this will guide you towards the supreme goal, that will not help. So Upanishads, they are praman, and they help us to comprehend this. Therefore Bhagavan says, Yadrusho Bhagavata Uktaha Upanishad Vakyehi Cha Nyayataha. And what is said in the Upanishad can be comprehended through using proper logic also. We should use logic to understand what the Upanishads are saying. Through logic we cannot arrive at that Brahma. But when that Brahma is revealed, it can be understood logically, rationally. So through rational thinking we cannot arrive at that understanding of Brahma, but when the scriptures are revealing it, we can use logic to understand what they are saying. So now, if we have to gain that knowledge of that Brahma, which is our own Shuddha Atma, that knowledge happens with the help of the buddhi. Whenever we say knowledge, then it is happening in the buddhi. And the knowledge happens in the buddhi according to that object. As I said, if an object is orange cloth is there, then it should create a orange cloth image in my antakarana. Then only I will say I have gained the knowledge of this cloth. But the Shastras say that this Atma doesn't have any color, doesn't have any form, doesn't have any qualities. So how can we gain that knowledge of that Atma? So Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji himself raises this doubt. He says, ki nanu means the doubt is there, ki vishayakaram jnanam, whatever knowledge we gain, then same akar, same form is created in our buddhi. Then only we say we have gained the knowledge. When I see a red flower, that red flower image, when it gets created in my antakarana, then I say I have gained that knowledge of that red flower. So let us see a flower is there. And it is for the first time I am seeing it. I don't know what it is. It's a nice, beautiful, fragrant flower. So when I see it that image comes in my antakarana. I can also smell it. I get the fragrant smell. I can even touch it, and I get the nice soft petals. I can touch it, but I don't know what it is. So knowledgeable person tells me the name of that flower. Let us say it is rose. That previously I did not know. Then this person tells me that this flower which you are seeing in front of you is called a rose. So I not only get the image of that flower in my antakarana, but also get this knowledge that this image in my heart is of the rose. And this image is of that rose which is in front of me. So this object in front of me is called a rose. So such knowledge I can gain in my buddhi only of those things which have got some akar, some qualities, some form, some color, some height, some width, some density, or some activity is happening in them. It is moving, it is jumping, it is shaking, some activity. So based on the activity and based on the quality, I gain that knowledge. So if I have to gain knowledge of Atma, the Shastras, they say the Atma doesn't have any qualities. It is Nirguna, means there are no qualities. And it is Nirvikar, there are no modification happening in Atma. And there is no activity happening in Atma. So, na Vishayaha, na api Akaravan. Atma is not an object also. It is a subject. Atma is not an object. And there is no qualities. So how can we gain knowledge of that Atma? That is the question which is raised. See, Bhagwan himself raises, because all these questions might come in our mind and we will get confused and we will say, oh, it is not possible, and we will give up. So the purpose of these commentaries by Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji is to make things very clear, free from all doubts. So he replies to this question. He says, no. He says, Nano Aditya Varnam Bharupaha Swayam Jyotihi iti Akaravatvam Atmanaha Shruyate. He says in the scriptures, there are statements, there are vakya, there are mantras which talk about that Atma as Aditya Varnam, as bright and shining like the sun. Such statements are there. That Atma is bright and shining like the sun. Bharupaha, it is of the nature of light. Swayam Jyotihi, it is self-luminous. Such statements are there. That means Atma has got some qualities. Because light we can see. If Atma is like a light, then we can see it. So it is mentioned in the Shastra that, but again that person objects. He says, no, these statements in the scriptures that Atma is Bharupaha, Aditya Varnam, Swayam Jyotihi, all these statements are not to define that Atma, but to negate what it is not. Shankaracharya ji writes, कि न तमो रूपत्व प्रतिषेधार्थत्वात् तेषां वाक्यानाम. Because when that Atma is indicated in the Shastras, with the help of this world, that Atma or the Brahma is indicated. The knowledge of Brahma is given taking support of this world. Because in the world that Brahma is present. World is not different from Brahma, but Brahma is different from the world. So in the world, Brahma is present. So through the world, that Brahma is pointed out. That this world which you see, the Upadan Karan of this world is Brahma. Janmadhyasya yataha, it is said in the Shastra, that Brahma is that from whom the world is, in whom the world is born, in which the world is sustained, and in which the world gets dissolved. So when it is indicated in this way, one may misunderstand, one may think that, oh, the world is inert. So if the Brahma is the Swarup of this world, is the Upadan Karan of this world, then Brahma also must be inert. Brahma also must be Jada, Tamo Roop. So the scripture says, no, it is not Tamo Roop. So in order to negate that Brahma is not Tamo Roop, it is indicated that Brahma is Aditya Varnam, is bright, brilliant, like the sun. It is of the nature of light, means it is of the nature of knowledge itself. It is not Jada, it is not inert. It is of the nature of knowledge. So in order to remove misunderstanding, the term Aditya Varnam, etc. is used. But that doesn't mean that Brahma has got some color or some light or some form, because the scriptures say many places that Brahma is arupam. Arupam iti cha visheshataha rupa pratishedat. Also, the scriptures say, na sadrushe tishtati rupamasya, na chakshusha pashyati kashyanenam. That Brahma doesn't come in front of our eyes, means through our eyes we cannot see that Brahma. Na chakshusha pashyati. One cannot see Brahma. It doesn't have a form. It doesn't have a color. Ashabdham, asparsham. It doesn't have any sound. You cannot touch that Brahma. You cannot smell Brahma. You cannot see Brahma. You cannot taste Brahma. So Brahma cannot be, there is no Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha in Brahma. Therefore, it is Arupa. So if it is Arupa, then again that question remains, ki tasmat atma karam jnanam iti anupapannam. Then knowledge is not possible of that Atma, of that Brahma. Because knowledge happens according to the form, according to the color. If that Brahma doesn't have any color, if doesn't have any form, doesn't have any activity, doesn't have any qualities, then how can we gain knowledge of that Brahma? That knowledge cannot happen in the buddhi. So Brahmajnanam is not possible. That is what the objection will be. So katham tarhi atmanah jnanam? How can there be atma jnana? Because sarvam hi yad vishayam jnanam tat tad akaram bhavati. Because whatever knowledge we get, it depends on that object. whatever be the form of that object, same form when it gets created in my antakarana, then I say I have gained that knowledge. Not only of form, but of temperature, of smell, of everything. That similar vritti gets created, then we say I know it. See about taste also. You have some object, something somebody gives you to eat. So you taste it. So in your tongue, there are those what we call the taste buds. And there are 6 different types of taste. So let us say that somebody gives you gulab jamun and you eat it, taste it. The sweetness of the gulab jamun and the sweet bud in your tongue, it matches. So you not only understand the taste, means that it is sweet, but you also understand how sweet it is, more sweet, less sweet, because it matches the taste in your tongue and that taste in the gulab jamun. It's the most amazing thing. See, if you eat gulab jamun, it is sweet. If you eat an apple, it is sweet. If you eat a banana, it is sweet. But the sweetness of an apple is different. Sweetness of a banana is different. Sweetness of a gulab jamun is different. And you know it subjectively. If somebody asks you, please describe the sweetness of the banana, you will not be able to describe. But it is your experience. So the taste, your tongue has got the ability to create the taste of all the objects of this world actually. Means all the 6 forms of taste gets created in my tongue. That image gets formed in my antakarana, and then I come to know this object which I am eating is sweet. This what I am eating is sour. This what I am eating is pungent. So as the object, so the image. Then only knowledge happens. It should match. But Atma doesn't have any form. It doesn't have Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. And doesn't have any activity. So how can we have image of that Atma in our buddhi? So if image of Atma is not possible in the buddhi, that means knowledge of Atma will not be possible, not possible. If knowledge of Atma is not possible, then abidance in that knowledge is also not possible. So neither Atma Jnana is possible, nor Atma Jnana Nishtha is possible. So sarvam hi yad vishayam jnanam tattat akaram bhavati nirakaraha cha atma iti uktam. Atma is nirakar. So jnanatmano cha ubhayoho nirakaratve katham tad bhava jnana katham tad bhavana nishtha iti. So if Atma is nirakar, how can one gain knowledge of that Atma? And how can we gain abidance in that self-knowledge? It is not possible. This is the objection. This is the doubt which can come in our mind and which is very valid, which is quite logical. We might keep on talking, gain self-knowledge, but self-knowledge कैसा हो ही नहीं सकता है. Because knowledge happens by having that matching image in our antakarana. So the matching image of that Atma, if it is formed in the antakarana, then only knowledge will happen. But Atma doesn't have any form, doesn't have any color. So no question of having any matching image. So it is not possible. Bhagavan says, no, it is possible. He says it is possible. And he explains very nicely, beautifully, that it is possible. So how is it possible? That we will see in our class tomorrow. Slowly and steadily we will try to understand this. No hurry. Main thing is we have to understand. So we will contemplate on this and try to understand in our class tomorrow. But you have to do your own contemplation also. So please listen to this pravachan again and contemplate. Contemplate to understand what is being said. Okay? So till then you take care, be happy, safe, peaceful, healthy, do your work, do your sadhana, contemplate, understand, and we shall meet again tomorrow. Hari Om. Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram. 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 Jaya Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram. Boliye Siyavar Ramachandra Bhagwan ki Jai. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.